It turns out that there's two different words that are translated in most of your Bibles for hardening of the heart. One of them is kavod, and the other one is chazak. Kavod literally means to make heavy, leaden, or sluggish. The connotation in this context is stubborn. And chazak, that means to make strong. So where I have written stubborn on this chart, the underlying Hebrew word is kavod. So God makes his heart heavy. He's become stubborn. His heart is like a stone, can't be moved. Heavy. Chazak means that he has strengthened his heart. He has become courageous. There's a very different connotation between those two words. And then the other thing on this chart is who does it. So Pharaoh does it in some cases, and God does it in some cases. Early on, Pharaoh does it. So here back at the burning bush in the first column, God says to Moses, I will harden his heart, which is to say, I will give him the courage of his convictions. So then we go into the throne room. And Pharaoh, notice, is the one who hardens his own heart all the way through the plague of livestock. So then we get down to boils, and Pharaoh's given up. And so what God does is hardens his heart, which is to say, gives him the courage of his convictions. He's made his decision back here in Exodus 7. By the time you get to Exodus 9, he is wavering. He's going wobbly. So what God does in Exodus 9 is he gives him the courage of his convictions. In other words, Pharaoh, you made a decision back here in Exodus 7. You're going to stick with that decision even though you no longer want to. So what God does is gives him the courage of his heart. In the hail, you've got both of them. And then notice down, by the time you get the locusts and darkness and the death of the firstborn, it's all God. Pharaoh would just as soon have quit back here in Exodus 9. But this is, my analogy of getting into the cage with the bear. You get a choice back in Exodus 7 whether you're going to get into the cage or not. And in Exodus 7, he made the decision, I'm going to get into the cage with the bear. So by Exodus 9 and 10, it's now up to the bear when we're done wrestling. And the bear isn't done yet. So what the bear does is props him up, the bear, God. What God does is props him up so that the dance goes on until the end. Please consider becoming a sponsor. You can sponsor us for as little as $1 a month. Please visit crimsonthread.com/purpose for an explanation of what we're doing and perhaps to become a sponsor. Thank you.